Greetings, truck lovers and truth seekers. You found it as weird and as odd as I have that over the last, probably, I want to say 4 months, there's been a lot of talk about what the direction of non-domiciled CDLs is going to go in. And there's every different opinion known to man floating around about it. Everybody thinks they know the history. Everybody thinks they know the future. And everybody thinks they know what the right path forward is. I've recently been watching a lot of videos, kind of catching up on what is the real story. And figured tonight would be a good time to have a live show and talk with you and the audience about just that. I've recently taken some time off. I've kind of recently let the show go dark, as it were, and I'll be coming back up with more frontline shows, the more shows y'all are used to as time goes on and as we move forward. I'm going to bring back more of what trucking's all about: opinions, debates. But until then, I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm even more happier having you in the audience tuning in on a regular basis, whether it's my videos or my live shows. I do this for you guys. I'm here because I want to do my part to make trucking great again. Tonight's show's a little different because what I want to do tonight is I kind of want to dissect another creator's video. Um, He is, as far as I know, a creator that is also a subscriber to my channel. He does not know I'm doing this, but being that I've watched some of his videos and I've commented on a great deal of them, as has he on mine, I figure why not? I mean, it's fair game. My content is open for his commentary, and I feel like anybody out there that's got something important to talk about and an opinion they feel like is necessary for the world to hear, what better way to do it than to bring it up to an audience that may not know about it? So, um, I want to say hello to Instructor Steve, whom I've had a great deal of dialogue with recently. He's an older fella, not the person we're going to watch his video, but there's another fella out there that has a channel, State Truck or State Company Truck Insurance. That's the name of his channel. Um, he's got a heavy accent. He's kind of hard to understand, but he's got a good channel, and he's got a great message too. And he's recently put out a video that details the recent events taking place with Sean Duffy's IFR and the politics around the non-domicile CDL ban and some other topics as well. Um, Give his channel a look at, and I will be sure to include the link to the video we're going to talk about in the description of this live. Please give him a look up. I mean, besides this topic, he does have other good opinions and good quality information on his channel. Also, a good shout out to Griff USMC, Grumpy Old Trucker. Those are my two current members. If you're not already familiar with our mission here, go ahead and take a moment, check out our memberships, scan the QR code below. For just a little bit of money, you can help support this channel. And currently, Griff and Grumpy are our two premier members. Anybody looking to keep updated, trying to put together monthly newsletters, special content for members only. I'm doing every little bit I can to help grow this channel and become more of a recognized force in the world of trucking. So, um, certainly, every chance you get, take a moment, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, no hard feelings. Just go down below, hit the like button, help YouTube decide what I'm all about. That's how we do it. So, without further ado, we're going to start the rest of the show. If you'd like to become part of the show, I urge you to do it one of two ways. Either take a moment, call our studio line, 860-785-3547. That will get you in touch with me while we're live here on the show. Also, in the comments, I've also linked a StreamYard link if you want to become part of the show on camera and right up here. Go ahead and click that link. We'll certainly be glad to have you on and have your opinion be displayed as it comes up. So, without further ado, let's get this party started.
Answer to that question is yes, trucking is worth it.
I'd like to know. Apparently, we have technical difficulties. Never ending around here. Happens every single time I try to have a live show. Oh, well, life goes on. Department of Transportation, yeah, the same agency that claims to protect safety on American highways, just admitted that they have zero data to back up more than numerous claims of what some say could affect more than 200,000 licenses in the U.S. Well, I take issue with the number. More on that in a few minutes. They're pushing forward anyway. They are sticking to their guns. They want this non-domiciled CDL thing stopped, and they want audits, and they want to be accountable to a safer and more productive way of getting people in the truck. Comment below and tell me what you think of just the idea of training. Forget whether they're foreign, forget whether they're American. This industry needs help with training. It needs help badly with people that are being introduced into an industry that, quite honestly, they've never done. I mean, think about it. The biggest thing you've driven is a four-wheel vehicle. You've never operated an 18-wheeler a day in your life. What do you think it takes to be comfortable if you've never done it before? I mean, the federal government has previously said that it requires 160 hours worth of time. Half of that in the classroom, studying the rules, the laws, the things to do, the things not to do, and the rest of it on the road, actually getting used to operating a vehicle that could conceivably have 80,000 pounds behind you. Now, that by itself is a daunting process. Now, you enter into that whole equation I just described, as daunting and as scary as it may be. Just a simple idea that someone from a foreign country that has no idea what the English language is all about, and some in the government want to just hand this plastic card to these guys and not ask a question. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what to do when you come up on a narrow right-hand turn? Do you know the difference between the 2 or 3 types of turns that you would be required to make that narrow turn? Do you know what the rule of law says when there's a green arrow pointing to the right and you've got a way station up ahead of you? Do you know what the difference between a split axle and a tandem axle is? Do you know what a fifth wheel does? None of these questions are ever asked of these people that come from foreign countries. And you would think that if they've operated a rig of similar size in their country, that they would know some of these basic questions and answers. But you put that on top of the fact that they don't even know the English language. And you've just spelled the recipe for disaster. We've seen time after time, 5 separate times, cited by Sean Duffy in his most recent press conference, that the system's broken. And a fellow creator even recognized the fact that, yeah, that's the case. And he had some things to say about some of that recent news conference. And, well, I'd like to talk a little bit about it. I'd like to get some of your input. And if the fellow that runs state CO Truck Insurance, if you're watching, I certainly welcome your input. You can either call our studio line, 860-785-3547, or click on the StreamYard link. I welcome you to come along. I'd like to have some input from you as well as the audience. His entire 20-minute video is available on his channel, so I'm not going to snake out his video, but I'm going to play a couple of parts of it that I think are worth talking about. So let's begin.
200,000 truck drivers gone just like that. The Department of Transportation just dropped what might be the most controversial rulemaking in modern trucking history. And if you think this is just about immigration, you have not been paying attention. This is about money, power, and who controls America's supply chain. And oh boy, this gets messy fast. So here's what happened. September 26th, 2025. Duty Secretary Sean Duffy stands up at a press conference and declares a national emergency. Not a pandemic, not a natural disaster. An emergency over truck driver licenses. Specifically something called non-domiciled CDLs. And if you've never heard that term before, you're about to get a crash course in how the government just fundamentally reshaped the trucking industry while most of America was scrolling TikTok.
Now, pretty sharp, pretty basic. I think he's just introing the whole topic. But face it, until recently, we didn't even know non-domiciled CDLs existed. In fact, there's quite a few other creators, who I'm not going to talk about tonight, who've really gone out of their way to shape exactly what a non-domiciled CDL is. And let's start with what it originally was. Back in the day, before all this current topic of the day was even brewed in, I want to welcome Shenene 212. If I'm pronouncing your name right. Welcome to the channel. Glad you could join us. Before all this current hubbub over CDLs even got started, the non-domiciled CDL wasn't even meant for foreigners. The whole idea of it got bastardized when corporate entities and partially government lobbyists saw a way in which to solve what they termed as the problem. Back in the day, they said we needed drivers. We have a shortage. So originally CDLs, non-domiciled, were set up to be able to get licenses between states. They were a way, let's say you lived in Texas. And as a Texas resident, you needed to get back and forth between maybe Indiana or Missouri or some other state other than the one you reside in. You would then go up to that state and get employment with that trucking company out of that state, that non-domiciled CDL would be how you do it. You live in one state and you work out of another, or you're based out of another. That's the original intent and basis behind what the non-domiciled CDL was originally designed for. It had no intent, and quite honestly, back then, no practice in being used as it is today. Oh, okay. Didn't recognize the name. Got it. I get you. Um, welcome in, Sassy. Anyway, I will say this: over the years, it's been completely twisted and it's completely perverted into something that, quite honestly, only serves the greater corporate entities. It doesn't help anybody. I mean, in the end, yeah, it kind of does, because some of the smaller companies reap the benefits of the throwaways from this, but it's been perverted and it's been used in a way that its original intent was not fostered from. So we're going to go over some comments that I noticed under the video in question, because I mean, there's some really sharp opinions that are at play with this video, but then there are sharp opinions about the topic itself. Okay, I mean, whether you're for it or against it, you're going to have a sharp opinion. I mean, most of us American truckers are of the opinion that, well, you need to do away with the system. It's doing nothing but promoting an unsafe environment, and it's just tragedy on wheels. But if you happen to be someone that works within the system designed by that, you see things a little bit differently. Now, as a broadcaster, I have to look at both angles. And here's what I look at. There's one story floating around, and this particular video creator is going to touch on it here before I get to the end of his little snippet I got here. Let's say you're a DACA recipient. Let's say that you've been in the business for 15 years. Let's say you have done everything according to DMV's rules up to now by the books. Now, all of a sudden, Department of Transportation and the State Department have suddenly laid out this new rule. What do? You're a non-domicile CDL holder because it's the only thing you can do. It's the only way to get it, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're told, wait a minute, you can't renew your license. You're shut down effectively. You can't do anything. Now, if anybody in trucking has paid attention to recent events in the news, you know about a lawsuit that's been filed, and it'll be mentioned here in a minute, on the behalf of non-domiciled CDL license holders. They're trying to work out a compromise. They're trying to have this effectively stopped and given more directions so that they can clearly get themselves legal and able to do things. But that still leaves our industry with quite the impasse. What do you do with all these people that honestly cannot speak a word of English, cannot understand anything? No signs. They can't communicate. Hell, check out my last video. There's a short snippet on there from a DOT officer. I think he's in Arizona, but he stops an Oriental gentleman and literally has no choice but to put him out of service because he can't even understand a simple question of who you drive for. California? Yeah, right. Sure. You have no idea what the English language is, do you? So sorry. So sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the problem we're having. Where do you draw the line and make sure that people are safe? Because at the end of the day, that's what's happening. I go out in that truck. I want to make sure I make it back home to my family. And I'm sure the average person watching this show wants to make sure the same is true. If you've got an opinion one way or the other, give us a call here, 860-785-3547. Talk with me. Click the StreamYard link. We are here, and we are open for discussion. Let's continue looking at this video, and let's see what some of the opinions are moving
A
forward.
non-domiciled CDL is basically a commercial driver's license issued to people who are not permanent residents of the United States.
Now remember, I originally said it was originally started for the states.
For years, states have been issuing these licenses. About 200,000 of them, to be exact. These drivers have been hauling your Amazon packages, driving school buses, moving freight across the country. They've been doing.
Yeah, they've been moving freight across the country, all right. Now, let me say something. The one thing I take exception to, he states 200,000. Sir, I believe your data is a little older, little flawed. I think there's more than 200,000, and I think there's quite a few people that are chattering right now on Twitter that seem to think it's more like close from 600 to 800,000. Regardless whether those numbers are true, mine or yours, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people, and there are way too many because, hell, there are some states, as he's going to point out here in a few, they don't even know the data. They're crying because Sean don't know the data. Well, they don't either. Hell, California can't accurately say how many people they've given CDLs to. We've got to dive in and do an audit ourselves to figure that out. And most of the states are in the same boat. Not all, but most of them. There's quite a few states that they can't even answer the question of how many there are. So there are those in the industry that feel like the numbers could be upwards of almost nearly 1 million. No way to know. You know? Give us a call. Let us know what your thoughts are right here, 860-785-3547, or click the StreamYard link. While you're at it, go down below, like this broadcast. Give us a couple of minutes worth of good favor. Let YouTube know what we're doing. Come on now. We're trying our damnedest to spread the message, because we're going to make trucking great again, one way or the other. Let's see what
That's
else.
it. Everyone else, your license expires and you're done. No renewal, no appeal, just gone. The DOT estimates that 194,000 drivers, 97% of current non-domicile CDL holders, will lose their licenses over the next 2 years as they come up for renewal.
I think there's more than that. As I said, I think the numbers are flawed.
Because when unions representing teachers and government workers, along with owner-operator named George Rivera Lujan, filed a lawsuit to block this rule, they forced the DOT to put their cards on the table. And what the DOT admitted in the response is stunning. They don't have a comprehensive data linking citizenship or immigration status to safety outcomes. Read that again. They don't have data showing these drivers are actually more dangerous. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration itself wrote, and I quote, "There is not sufficient evidence derived from well-designed, rigorous quantitative analysis to reliably demonstrate a measurable empirical relationship between nation of domicile and safety."
There's equally not as much data as the states like to think either. True, I mean, some of the safety data is kind of lacking. All you got to do is look at the news and see how many accidents have happened recently. And all you've got to do is talk with everybody in trucking, whether you talk with the American Truckers United, you talk with different creators like myself, or just the truckers and people that aren't even on YouTube. It don't matter who you talk to. You don't need a bunch of data points on a spreadsheet to point out the obvious. If you don't know your language, if you don't know the rules, if you were not properly trained, you're dangerous. So, yeah, we might have an empirical problem with the numbers, and there may be data insufficiencies, but the same is true on both sides. There may not be enough data pointing from Sean Duffy's office, but you can bet damn sure he's putting it together as we speak. And you can also be damn sure if somebody wants to live in California, get a CDL. If they run a CDL, it's the DMV office out, and they're going to get their data act together because If they are not, the federal government's going to have precedence over California. They're going to discontinue the certification to give out CDLs. And that's a fight I don't really want to be in. I'm glad I don't live in California. I'm glad because to have your state by itself be decertified, that's a cluster you don't want to be involved in. Because that means you've got to leave the state in order to get your CDL. That means you've got to leave the state to do anything. That's Newsom. You really want your citizens to go through that crap? I mean, come on now. You guys are having enough trouble keeping the ports open, and you want to get it. Sure. Okay. Meantime, if you're on the road, have you personally seen or witnessed a driver whom, when you saw them, you thought, good God, where did they get their license from? I mean, we've seen it all the time. I mean, good Lord. It's a disaster. It really is. I feel bad for the companies they represent. I really do. Me personally, I work hard, extremely hard, to keep my license crystal clean. I'm very proud of the record I have. And yet I see video after video after video, people after people, wrecking trucks, denting trucks, violating the law, running over lines, passing on a double yellow, doing crazy, stupid crap. Dude, what are you doing? It makes no sense. You have to ask the question, how were you trained? Where did you come from? I mean, it's crazy. If states are found to have issued dozens or even thousands of non-domiciled CDLs, what does that do to your idea of trusting the system? I mean, think about it. You're in there. You're giving them your data. You're giving them your time. You've paid a school thousands of dollars. You've gone about what you need to do to prove you're qualified the right way. And yet, as many as merely possibly 600,000 people are running around here with a plastic card in their pocket they didn't even earn. It's been said, if you live out in Garden City, Long Island, all you got to do is pay some lady $3,000 and she'll go take your test for you. Come back, hand you CDL, pat you in the ass, and wish you best of luck on the way off the island. You can bet she's in jail. But I mean, it's just that easy, right? How many states have we not caught in the middle of that kind of trap? Think about it. It's probably more prevalent than we know. But it needs to end. It's a practice that needs to go away.
DOT Secretary Duffy has made California his poster child for everything wrong with the system. 25% of their non-domiciled CDLs were issued improperly. 20,000 licenses had expiration dates that exceeded the driver's legal presence documents. Duffy threatened to pull $160 million in federal highway funding if California didn't fix it in 30 days. And California's response? Essentially, no. California's DMV admitted there were some technical issues, acknowledged about 20,000 licenses with wrong expiration dates, but said they're not revoking them.
They're not revoking. Think about that. You've got these yutzes driving around here. We already know there's problems. State of California just proved it. And yet they're not going to revoke. They're not going to change nothing. They're not going to do nothing. In fact, if you look on my Twitter feed, you can see what I think of Gavin Newsom. He's lied time and time again. He says he's done everything by the book. Well, no, he hasn't. His very own state has a statistic that proves it. I mean, they're selling you this idea that they're doing things by the book, and they're not. They're doing it by the book because they know it pays in the long run. They know they can keep their constituents moving in money. See, one of my videos talks about it point blank. It's all about cheap labor. If there's a way you can put somebody that's willing to sit in that seat for 30 cents a mile, if you run that business, you're scoring, man, because you're moving that load for $2 a mile. All you got to pay is some schmuck 30 cents. You've got a buck 70 in your pocket. You can do whatever you want with, right? The fella driving the truck don't know what you're making. All he knows is what he agreed to. Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. I work for dirt cheap. I work for dirt cheap. That's the problem. People are so willing to suck it up and make nothing. We've lost our standards. We've lost our way. And people like Gavin Newsom know it. People like him, sorry, I'm not going to hold back just because I run a YouTube channel. I'm sorry. It's a fact. He's a leech. He deserves to be put in his place. And I think this fellow put it plainly and simply. I think he knows what he's talking about.
It's a political knife fight disguised as a safety debate. And then there's the smoking gun. October 15, 2025. California upgrades a driver named Jasonpreet Singh's CDL from intrastate to interstate. This is days after DOT explicitly ordered California to stop issuing non-domiciled CDLs. 6 days later, Singh slams into stop traffic on I-10, 3 people dead, 2 more hospitalized. The DOT releases a bombshell report saying if California had followed the rules, Singh would have been found ineligible because he was an asylum seeker.
There you go. Just proved the point for him. It didn't even have to go beyond that. 6 days. The man couldn't even leave the state because he had a limited term license to begin with. And he gets behind the wheel. He gets allegedly coked up or whatever the problem is. There's since been stories that have been released talking about this guy's accident that say and disprove that the toxicology reports say that he wasn't under the influence. But irrelevant to that. The dude wasn't supposed to be behind the wheel. He wasn't supposed to have a license to begin with. That much is true, and it's proven. He was not even qualified. And yet, he took people off the road in the most inhumane way. Didn't even hit the brakes. We've all seen the dash cam. We've all seen the results. Whether you're talking about Florida or whether you're talking about California, Atlanta, Georgia, Chattanooga, it don't matter what city or state you operate in. Driving a truck is serious business. I want to thank the fellow from State CO Truck Insurance. I want to thank you for making a video and being a regular creator and talking very steadfastly, similar to me, about issues that help make trucking great again. I see you as a comrade. I really do. And I thank you for bringing these points to us. They're good videos, good points. I look forward to seeing more of them. If you'd like more on the perspective from somebody running a CDL school, that's your man. Go ahead and look him up. His link to his video is in the description. I recommend you take, even though he's got an accent, he's been in the business a while. He knows what he's talking about. I've seen most of his videos since his channel started, so he does what he's talking about. So from your perspective as a driver, if you're watching this, what do you think real training should look like today? Do we even think 160 hours is enough? Given what we know about training and what we know about the responsibility of the job, do you think 160 hours is enough? I posed a couple of videos of my own, and I made the point of saying we need to up the hours. What do you think? Put it in the comments. Let me know. If you think 160 is not enough, let me know. If you got a number that you think would more steadily justify a safer driver or a safer industry, put it in the chat. I want to know what you think equals a safer number. Because you know what? Here at Truckin City, we're all about making trucking great again. And you do that by making sure that the people are behind the wheel know what they're doing. How many times have you watched videos and seen people passing on the double yellow? Stupid thing. Driving under a bridge when you know damn well it's a 10-2 bridge, you're not going to make it, stupid. Or doing something like driving past a restricted sign. It's telling you you're only rated for 32,000 pounds, yet you're driving, a 50,000 pound rig. It's restricted. It's not a class A vehicle. It's a class B route. There's a lot of northern routes that are like that. You got to know how to trip plan. You got to know how to route yourself. You got to know the difference between a truck route and a GPS throwing a car route. I've seen quite a few videos of people trying to get around in Long Island or Manhattan, taking off tops of the trailers because they don't know, you know, LIRR railroads, they're 12.2. They're not going to allow a 18.6 trailer under it. Um, I always laugh at those. Those are funny. Um, so, I mean, what do you think real training should be? Do you think we should up it to maybe three and a half? I mean, maybe maybe 3.5 hours. Yeah, 350 hours. Double 160. Might be 320. I'm fine with that. I think that would work. Double the amount of time. Put 160 in theory, put 160 on the road. Or maybe a third of that, 2/3 on the road, whatever. Whatever makes a safer industry. I'm all for it. But I don't think what's working now is working now. That's my thing. I don't think it's working. And I think we owe it to ourselves, our industry, and our families to do what's right. I really do. I'd be interested to hear your opinions. Like I said, we'll be live for a couple more minutes. If you got your thoughts, put them in the comments. Let me know. I'd certainly like to know what you're thinking. The idea of somebody getting a license after not having studied correctly or having done all the things that I've done, that upsets me. I can't speak for Harjinder or Japri or any of these Punjabi truck drivers. I really can't. I'm willing to bet most of them honestly went about training and going through a school the right way. But there's probably some of them, and even some people on Punjabi YouTube channels have admitted to this. There are some of them that don't care. They don't care. They look for shortcuts. They do things the wrong way. They make the industry and their communities look bad. We need to get rid of those. Without hesitation, we need to get rid of those. But the same is true for us American drivers. This ain't just about non-domiciled completely. This is a message to anybody in the trucking industry, whether you're an American driver or you have a non-domiciled CDL. If you don't want to represent your industry, you don't have a place here. You don't need to be here. The subject matter tonight may be about non-domiciled CDLs, but the same message has to wholeheartedly be given to American truckers too. We fought long and hard to get beyond this stigma of you're not supposed to be here. You're stealing my loads. As a taxi driver, I used to hear it all the time. We used to hate it when the competing company would get to our fares before we did. We thought that was a major insult. You're taking my stuff, right? And we do the same thing in trucking. As a trucker, we get mad when the competition gets a leg up on us. So then what do? We put the circumstance together so that we make ourselves right, and then we turn around and make ourselves look bad. That's not how you solve the problem. If you truly want to reform trucking and you want to make it worthwhile, you've got to stick by the standards. You've got to make a stake, you've got to make a claim, but you've also got to live it. It's one of the reasons why I'm going to change my content moving forward, because I want you guys to see a little bit more of what I do, how I do it, And I want you guys to relate to the fact that I actually live what I say. I don't just come up here and talk news stories and talk like I think I'm an authority, but I'm not. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I do as I do it. It's not going to be a personal thing. I'm not going to show you all the personal stuff a lot of other channels do, but you're going to see more of me. You're going to see more of what I do. You know, I'd like to have started tonight, but the load I was scheduled to get canceled on me. But as I move, I'm going to take you guys along with me. I welcome you along. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the experience because I want you guys to see what it is we're fighting for. You know, we're trying to turn this industry around. We're trying to make it something that is more than what you just see on the news. You know, commenter comes up and says, "Can you imagine how many terrorists are driving? Who knows and who knows where?" Well, whether they are or not, the problem is we don't even know. We can't tell because California, as you've just rightfully seen, and I'm reading a very small screen, so I'm trying to carefully read the name. Tape, tapeworm. Okay. Uh, I suck with names. Forgive me. Um, we don't know how many people are out here. We don't know how many CDLs are foreign. We don't know how many speak English. We don't know what they represent. We don't know what they think of trucking. We don't even know what they think of the country. So that's the setback. We can't honestly answer that question. Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why Secretary Rubio came out so strongly when he paused the visas. Now I don't remember if anything's happened. I don't think he's resumed that, or if he has, he's done it carefully. I don't follow the politics. I follow the trucking, so that is beyond me. But I do know one thing: we do need to get a grip on making sure that when it comes to trucking, not only do we do it right, but we represent it right. As I started talking about a minute ago, do you know how many people are just embarrassing not only themselves but the industry? I think that's atrocious. I think that's uncalled for. Dude, if you don't want to be in the industry, if you don't want to be in the country, leave. I don't want you here. You don't want to be here. Find something else to do. That's my thing. That's my current belief, you know. Speaking of audits, I mean, do you think the current path we're on in terms of auditing each state, what Sean Duffy's doing, do you think it's more about safety or do you think it's more on the saving face? Do you think Sean's more worried about his image or do you think he's really concerned about trucking? Because I've heard it either way. I mean, if you look at the comments under Mr. Insurance's video, there's a lot of negativity going on. Okay. They go on vacation and they come over here and crap on us. A lot of non-domicile holders are not getting their licenses the right way. They're cheating. Um, a white Volvo pulling an Amazon trailer is one of the most dangerous combinations. Stay away. Um, they're absolutely more dangerous as well as disgusting. And, I won't finish that one because it's not family friendly. Kick them out. Professionals don't wear flip flops. It's like we're watching Bonehead Truckers, but it's under his video. There's a lot of negative people, and they also have a lot of negative things to say about him. And I'll tell you what, I draw the line there. The guy may have an accent, and he might not have a lot of Americana in his voice, but he's smart. He is a productive person in trucking, and he deserves to be listened to and respected. You getting under his comments, crapping on him like that does not change. It doesn't change the industry. It doesn't make you look any better, and it certainly does not help your cause. So if you're going to get under anybody's videos, especially like him, he was nice enough to lend me some information, so I'm going to show him the respect back. And he made me aware of things. So kudos to him. I like the fact that he's bold enough to come up day after day and make these videos. And I deeply respect anyone that gives him the thumbs up or the subscription the same way you would me. I'm all about making trucking great again. And you don't do it by crapping on people with an opinion that makes a difference. You do it by listening. You do it by offering a productive counterpoint that makes an argument make sense. You don't do it by insulting a person. So be careful when you're out there looking at people's videos. when you're out there making a point or a case. You know what? There's always two sides to every story. There's your side, and then there's the right side. You can do it right, or you can do it like an ass. Personally, I'd rather do it right. My friends, we've talked about a lot of things, and it's clearly obvious that there's a lot of people out there with things to do. If you're watching this on the replay, do me a favor, go down below, take a few moments, go ahead, look at our channel, become a subscriber if you have any idea that you want to keep up on current news, figure out what things are all about, and see how the industry is. Check us out. Take the banner off so they can see the QR code. QR code's down below. That scans you. You can get that into my membership for a couple of bucks a month. You can support this channel. You can be a part of the ever-growing TIB Nation. We would welcome that. We would welcome you to be part of our community. We together do a lot. We will make trucking great again. One shot, 1 mile, one road at a time. You know, it's not the end until left their mark in trucking industry. I want to tip my hat to State Company or Truck Insurance for making the video and having the plan to move forward and continue to make people aware of exactly what's going on in trucking today. If you found any value in this tonight, do me a favor, go down below, become a subscriber, like this video. Keep checking back with us. Sooner or later, I'm going to bring back Front Lines of Trucking. We're going to come back and give you guys the opportunity to debate important topics and give your opinion about the best way to make trucking great again. Until then, my friends, do your part. Remember, trucks make deliveries. You make the difference. Until we meet again, it's BossMan. Keep it real. Keep it rolling.